Hey, Lions Nation! We're back with another exclusive video bringing you all the latest news about our beloved Detroit Lions. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss anything about the team. Now, let's get into the news. The NFL didn't just tremble, it collapsed. The moment ESPN unleashed the headline, the football world fractured like a glass stadium floor under the weight of an earthquake. Justin Jefferson signs with the Detroit Lions, announced. As the new WR1, it wasn't a notification, it wasn't an update, it was a detonation. Phones buzzed violently, commentators froze mid-sentence. Analysts stared silently at the breaking news bar as if the screen itself had lied. Across America, fan bases gasped, cursed, panicked, screamed, collapsed, and refreshed their feeds in disbelief. Justin Jefferson, the most electrifying wide receiver of his generation. The human highlight reel, the route-running deity. The yards after catch tyrant had left Minnesota and landed in Detroit. In Dan Campbell's violent blue empire, and the offense already feared for destroying coverages. Inside the Lions facility, the moment the announcement appeared on the giant scoreboard, everything stopped, helmets dropped, coaches froze, players stared at each other with expressions oscillating between awe and disbelief. A rookie cornerback reportedly muttered, That's not real. That can't be real," a veteran lineman whispered. "We just changed history." And then there was the reaction from Detroit's own star, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sources claim he watched the headline appear on the training room TV, paused, smirked, and said only, "Let's eat," because Detroit didn't just sign another wide out. Detroit signed the face of an entire era. Justin Jefferson was not a player, he was a phenomenon. His cuts were lethal. His roots were poetry sharpened into weapons. His separation was criminal. His hands were magnets forged in the fires of inevitability. He was the WR1 of WR1 South, the template, the prototype, the nightmare of defensive coordinators. The man who made all pro cornerbacks look like practice dummies. Now he was wearing Honolulu blue. Now he was lining up beside St. Brown, Gibbs, Montgomery, Laporta. Now he was stepping into Ben Johnson's offense, the most creative, twisted, unpredictable offensive machine in the NFC. The league collapsed because it understood one brutal truth: Detroit didn't add a piece. They added a crown. Across the NFL, reactions bordered on hysterical. Anonymous quotes poured into insider inboxes like confessions from panicked generals. The NFC North is over. How is that even allowed? Detroit has the best offensive core in football now. Defending that offense is mathematically impossible. Minnesota's meltdown was immediate. Fans burned jerseys. Radio stations opened with segments that sounded like eulogies. Players privately messaged Jefferson goodbye with long, emotional paragraphs. Rumors swirled that Vikings coaches locked themselves in a room, shouting loud enough for staff to hear through the walls. The betrayal was biblical. The division shift was apocalyptic because Justin Jefferson didn't just leave the Vikings. He defected to their greatest rising enemy. Inside Detroit, the reaction was the opposite of chaos. It was revelation. Players felt the air change. Staffers reportedly described the moment as gravity doubling. Campbell stood silently at midfield, absorbing the shock in slow, deliberate breaths. Then he turned to Ben Johnson and said quietly, with a grin forming, "Let's build a monster." Because Jefferson was not coming in as a piece of the puzzle. He was coming in as the center of gravity, as the WR1, as the new face of the Lions' offense, as the weapon that would force defenses into unsolvable equations. Detroit had become frighteningly complete. But the public didn't yet know the darker truth, the truth behind how the move happened, and why Jefferson chose Detroit, and what he intended to do next. That story was far more sinister, far more calculated, far more cinematic, and it began in the shadows beneath Allen Park. Before we move on, take a second to drop a like and subscribe. That way, you'll stay up to date with every exclusive Lions update. And you'll even have a chance to win an official Detroit Lions jersey. Let's keep going. The real story behind Justin Jefferson's arrival wasn't about money, rivalry, or even opportunity. It was about rebirth, about destiny, about a player stepping into the one environment built to unleash the fullest, darkest version of his greatness. It began weeks earlier, in a hidden room beneath the Detroit Lions headquarters, known internally as the Cathedral, a meeting place of strategy, a birthplace of ambition, a war room where futures were forged with cold precision. Dan Campbell stood in that room with GM Brad Holmes, owner Sheila Ford Hamp, and offensive mastermind Ben Johnson. The projector displayed a freeze frame of Jefferson mid-route. Body tilted like a blade slicing reality, Campbell didn't speak for nearly a minute. He simply stared at the paused image with the intensity of a general who had suddenly found the final piece of a world-ending weapon. Finally, he murmured, "That's the one." Ben Johnson nodded, already seeing how the offense could mutate into something monstrous with Jefferson at its core. Holmes leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Tell me what this does to the league." Johnson answered without hesitation, "It breaks it." Sheila Ford Hamp exhaled slowly, then delivered the sentence that would change the NFL. "Get him." Quietly, thus began Detroit's most secretive and aggressive acquisition mission in franchise history. They used encrypted channels, proxy negotiators, fake rumors about pursuing mid-tier wideouts, scheduling misdirection, cap traps disguised as routine extensions. Detroit moved like a shadow army, and Minnesota never saw the knife sliding toward them. Meanwhile, Jefferson experienced his own descent into frustration, internal conflict, systemic limitations, rising tension with staff, disillusionment with direction. But the final crack came during a late-night phone call between Jefferson and an unnamed Detroit player, a call insiders describe as career-defining. During that call, the Detroit player reportedly said, "We're building something real here, something violent, something the league can't stop. Come write your name in it." Jefferson didn't hesitate. He reportedly replied, "Send the signal." Within days, communication began. Within weeks, negotiations intensified. Within hours of the deadline, Minnesota realized too late what was happening. And then, with a single pen stroke, Detroit executed the most vicious division steal of the modern era. When Jefferson arrived at the facility, wearing sunglasses, hood up, face stoic, the atmosphere changed instantly. It wasn't excitement, it wasn't celebration. It was fear, the kind predators inspire when they enter a new territory. Players felt it. Coaches felt it. Even the building seemed to hum with anticipation. Jefferson walked through the locker room slowly, examining every face, every stall, every banner, every Lion emblem on the wall. Then, without warning, he put his bag down, stretched his neck, and said only, "Let's go hunting." The room erupted. Not with cheers, with shouts of war. Practices transformed instantly. Jefferson moved like a phantom. No wasted steps, no hesitation. Defensive backs were humiliated rep after rep. Rookies stumbled, trying to track his hips. Veterans cursed under their breath. One cornerback reportedly muttered, "I knew he was good. I didn't know he was this." Ben Johnson redesigned the entire passing playbook within 48 hours. New route trees, new isolation patterns, new misdirection concepts built around Jefferson's supernatural body control, new double motion schemes. Detroit's offense didn't evolve, it ascended. And defenses across the NFL began preparing for something they'd never seen before. Justin Jefferson in an offense designed by the most unpredictable coordinator in football, and fueled by a head coach who demanded violence on every snap. Jefferson didn't come to Detroit for revenge. He didn't come for rivalry. He didn't come for fame. He came for legacy, for power, for immortality. He came to become the WR1 of a dynasty being forged in real time. And as he stepped off the practice field after his first full session, sweat dripping, eyes narrowed, aura burning like wildfire, he said the sentence that now echoes through every defensive meeting room in the NFL, "Cover this." Detroit didn't just sign a superstar, Detroit crowned a king. And the NFL is officially on its knees. We bring you the latest Lions news every single day, so make sure you're subscribed. Hit that like button and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And of course, drop a comment below with your thoughts on today's news. Your voice makes a difference for Lions Nation. See you in the next video.